We should get the sort of details, the official details of this in about 3 hours' time. It's going to be unveiled. And this is going to be sort of a number of different things that will be all unveiled at once and really putting the urgency of competitiveness at Europe at the front and center. This is really kind of the first step in the big legislation from this new commission and basically how to do that. This will include, Tom, both a bit of stick and a bit of carrot, right? Where on the one hand, there's the Industrial Clean Deal. This is basically the Green Deal 2.0 that basically has been kind of revamped after the sort of detractors from the sort of climate agenda have sort of got their influence in and saying that basically competitiveness is more important. What this will basically include is this carrot side of things of slightly looser state aid rules, being able to do more tax incentives in order to boost sort of clean tech, but also sort of industries. On the other side, they also want to roll back a lot of this stick, some of the regulations, right? The EU does not want to call this deregulation. They want to call this simplification. But basically what this amounts to is going to be making it a little bit easier for companies to basically reduce the burden of all the reporting they need to do, all the audits they need to do on their supply chain. And let's not lose sight of the fact that this was also going to be a much larger scope in terms of the number of companies that this included. Basically, they want to roll this back to not touch some of the SMEs, basically rolling it back to touch about basically 85% fewer of the companies that they were originally going to target. This all comes into focus, Tom. Remember, the Draghi report was written when basically just the sort of concerns about China were predominant. That was written in September. Since then, the election of Donald Trump, the EU has really lit the fire in understanding that their competition is not just against China, it's also against the United States. And as the United States aggressively deregulates, that is something that in Europe they basically cannot ignore, where basically their industry is structurally less competitive. They feel that adding more regulation to that is just adding more hurdles to that already sort of grim picture.